coming out of 2024, Bitcoin is emerging as an institutional grade asset, and it's not going to be competing with the Bitcoin forks or other proof of work coins, or Sam Bankman-Fried's favorite yo-yo token, but it's or apes or cats or crazy crypto things. It won't be thought of as that. It's going to be competing against owning a block of real estate in London, or owning New York, or owning a ton of gold, or owning a building, or perhaps owning $1 billion of the S&P index, or owning 1 million shares of Apple stock.
Michael Saylor, the founder and executive chairman of MicroStrategy, a Virginia-based business intelligence firm, firmly believes in the short and long-term potential of Bitcoin, starting from the next year. With the recent approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF by the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission, Saylor is confident that Bitcoin will gain greater recognition among U.S. politicians, mainstream media, and institutional investors, including large pension funds and corporations. Saylor predicts that Bitcoin is on the cusp of becoming a widely adopted institutional-grade asset, leading to a significant price surge. While some in the Bitcoin community are skeptical of Wall Street giants like BlackRock and Fidelity entering the crypto space, Saylor is convinced that their involvement will be beneficial. He points to BlackRock's vast $10 trillion in assets under management, and their growing interest in Bitcoin, emphasizing their potential to boost the cryptocurrency market. Saylor's optimism is grounded in the changing attitudes of financial institutions, such as BlackRock, which have transitioned from skepticism to recognizing Bitcoin's value as a hedge against the depreciating US dollar. He sees this as a positive sign, indicating that Bitcoin's growth potential is substantial and that institutional involvement is a reason for hope.
Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to drop your comment and observations in the comment section below. Thanks and enjoy the video.
I think that from the years 2020 to 2024, that was the great transition of Bitcoin from being a retail asset in the crypto ecosystem, offshore, unregulated, poorly understood, the Wild West. And by the end of 2024, it will have emerged as an institutional asset in the mainstream financial ecosystems on Wall Street. Bitcoin's coming to Wall Street. And this is, it's like, I guess like college, you started as a child and then you left home, and freshman year is very scary. And you've got 4 years of adjustment, and you encounter people that are better educated than you or smarter than you, that come from parts of the world you've never been to, maybe that have more power than you. And initially it's a bit scary, but by the end of your college education, you're ready to go out in the world and compete with everybody else. And I think that coming out of 2024, Bitcoin is emerging as an institutional grade asset. But if Bitcoin's going to grow up, right, Bitcoin's on a path to go from nothing to 500 billion to 10 trillion to 100 trillion dollars to 200 trillion. At some point, it should be 10, 20, 30% of all of the wealth in the world. If it's going to grow up like that, then it's inevitable that it had to be embraced and was going to be embraced by Wall Street. So if we consider the significance of BlackRock and the ETF, well, first of all, the real important point is there's broad-based consensus now that Bitcoin is an asset class. And that's a major revolution. If Fidelity and BlackRock and if 10 other ETF issuers all agree that Bitcoin is an asset class, right, it should be 10x to 100x bigger than it is right now. There's also broad-based agreement that sometime in the next year, a spot ETF will be approved. And that's also significant. I think the third significance is this is not BlackRock taking over Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin, being embraced by BlackRock, right? This is Bitcoin being embraced by Wall Street. Nobody on Wall Street, none of these ETFs, none of these leaders of these money managers have said, we just heard about Bitcoin, we're here to fix it. What they've said is, we heard about Bitcoin. It seems like everybody in the world wants it. And since we offer people gold and bonds and equity and other forms of investment options, we have a vacuum and we are lacking, and we won't be complete until we're offering a Bitcoin product. So I'm not concerned about it. I think it's to be expected. I also think it's everybody that joins the Bitcoin ecosystem with humility helps, right? When Block shows up with Cash App and they build Bitcoin into Cash App, with respect to the protocol, they're helping Bitcoin. They're providing an on-ramp to Bitcoin. Not the only one. When you create a new signing device, you're helping Bitcoin. When you create a new node or any kind of software that helps you run a Bitcoin node, you're helping Bitcoin. When you're buying Bitcoin, you're helping Bitcoin. How you buy Bitcoin, right, is of less importance than the fact that you respect the protocol and you're assisting it.
According to Saylor, there exists a substantial group of investors who currently cannot access or invest in Bitcoin. The introduction of a spot Bitcoin ETF, particularly from a major player like BlackRock, is poised to change this situation dramatically. Saylor envisions that corporations and other institutional investors will have the ability to invest in Bitcoin within minutes, eliminating the need to overhaul their existing systems, some of which have been in use for decades. He also highlights the inefficiency and high costs associated with existing Bitcoin futures ETFs, advocating for the convenience of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Saylor draws an analogy, describing it as a 6-lane superhighway connecting Wall Street and Bitcoin, facilitating the easy flow of billions of dollars into the cryptocurrency market. During the fireside chat, this esteemed business executive reflected on how far Bitcoin has come in just a few short years, transitioning from relative obscurity to gaining recognition from influential figures such as Larry Fink, prominent U.S. lawmakers, and presidential candidates. Saylor sees these developments as evidence that Bitcoin is far from heading to zero and, in his opinion, is on a trajectory toward reaching $1 million. Here are additional excerpts from the fireside chat.
I've said many times before, I've said, if it's not going to zero, it's going to 1 million. The reason it would go to zero is it's illegitimate or getting banned. And so the question is it illegitimate? Well, obviously not. It's an asset without an issuer. It's the world's first digital commodity and the greatest digital commodity. It's the only globally acknowledged digital commodity in the world. There's controversy about everything else. Bitcoin is the one non-controversial thing. So it is a legitimate asset. And is it being banned? Obviously not. The Chinese haven't banned it. It's deemed property in China. The Russians haven't banned it. It's property in Russia. The Americans haven't banned it. It's property in America. All of the controversy in our marketplace right now is surrounding crypto exchanges, the trading of unregistered securities, other tokens, and stable coins. And then the usage of these crypto tokens as a high-speed dollar substitute, a currency substitute. There's lots of controversy there. There will continue to be controversy. It is unclear how all that sorts itself out, except for the fact that there are two great conclusions you can come to over the past 24 months. Wall Street, the regulators, and the mainstream investment community endorses Bitcoin and appreciates Bitcoin. And everybody's skeptical of the rest of the crypto ecosystem, right? Bitcoin, yes. Crypto, not so sure, right? So that's where we are right now. I have met with lots of executives from these companies that are bringing spot ETFs to market. I can tell you for a fact, nobody wants to fix Bitcoin. Nobody wants to change Bitcoin. They've approached it with humility. They've approached it with grace. Their view is Bitcoin is a digital asset. People in the world seem to want it. We should do our part to provide services to make it easy to acquire and hold Bitcoin. Now, in time, right, the first and easiest step and the most critical step is that spot ETF, because that'll open up the superhighway for, it's like a power line for hundreds of billions of dollars of capital to flow into the ecosystem. But eventually, Google and Apple will embrace Bitcoin. And when Google or Apple embraces Bitcoin and Apple puts some sort of Bitcoin signing device into the iPhone, there will be some people that will be skeptical and they will say, oh, we could never trust Apple. And that's reasonable. And other people will say, oh, it's an option for the masses that don't know how to, operate their own hardware wallet. And there'll be a debate. And then there'll be an avalanche, and then Apple, the Amazon will do something, and then Microsoft will build it into their browser, and then people will hate that. And then some other company will come up with a better Bitcoin-only one, and we'll like that. And maybe they'll succeed, and they'll grow. It'd be 10 or 100x, and maybe they won't. And then maybe at some point we'll wake up, and there'll be $4 billion, which will be of 4 billion people, and they will self-custody some amount of their own Bitcoin. And then they will have other Bitcoin that will be in an ETF in their retirement plan because their employer required that they actually have their retirement plan with a securities custodian. And the world will be heterogeneous.
Michael Saylor is not the sole prominent investor who holds an optimistic view of Bitcoin's future. In a recent tweet, renowned financial author Robert Kiyosaki reiterated the significance of investing in assets like Bitcoin, gold, and silver before it's too late. According to the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, the current prices of these assets are of less concern than the rapid growth anticipated in the coming years. Kiyosaki's tweet emphasizes that he often receives inquiries about the 2025 prices of gold, silver, or Bitcoin, to which he responds that such questions are misguided. He underscores the more critical inquiry of how much of these assets one holds today, considering that they are currently undervalued but might not remain so in the future. Kiyosaki suggests that it's wise to invest in gold, silver, and Bitcoin today, given the precarious financial state of the United States and the impending rush toward these assets as stocks, bonds, and real estate face potential crashes. What are your thoughts on the bullish perspectives of both Saylor and Kiyosaki regarding Bitcoin? Do you share their belief that 2024 will be a pivotal year for Bitcoin? Feel free to share your comments and observations below. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.